urges Malaysians to perform hijrah in facing pandemic crisis. MOH malls allowing walk-in vaccinations for pregnant women. Hello and good evening. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Welcome to News at 10. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Ayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah has urged all Malaysians to perform hijrah while facing the COVID-19. His Majesty believes that this can be done by cooperating and complying with the National Recovery Plan, which aims to gradually push the country out of the pandemic crisis.
Berita menyuruh seluruh rakyat untuk bekerjasama dalam mematuhi plan pemulihan negara yang merupakan strategi peralihan untuk keluar secara berfasa dari kemulut pandemik ini. Berita berkeyakinan negara pasti akan berjaya keluar dari apa juga kemulut yang melanda jika kita semua terus berpadu tenaga dan mengamalkan sifat-sifat terpuji baginda Nabi Muhammad SAW.
Speaking in his special message in conjunction with the hybrid celebration of Ma'al Hijrah, Al-Sultan Abdullah said, everyone should follow the good values of Prophet Muhammad, including honesty, trustworthy and wise in conveying Islamic teachings. His Majesty added that appreciating Hijrah does not only mean practicing good morals and manners, but it should also be used as a foundation in developing the country. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has called on the rakyat to enliven the spirit of hijrah to improve ourselves.
Saya menyeru kepada diri saya dan saudara-saudari sekalian, marilah bersama-sama kita menjiwai peristiwa hijrah yang bukan sekadar mengenang perpindahan Nabi Muhammad SAW secara fizikal dengan meninggalkan harta dan kediaman semata-mata. Saban tahun peristiwa hijrah ini memperteguh tekad kita untuk berusaha bersungguh-sungguh dalam mengamalkan ajaran Nabi SAW, melakukan perubahan sikap dan tindakan kita kepada sifat-sifat mahmudah dan lebih baik sebagaimana dianjurkan baginda SAW.
With the Islamic New Year, the Premier also prayed for everyone to have faith and patience as Malaysia continues its National Recovery Plan. The Health Ministry is mulling the possibility of allowing walk-in vaccinations for pregnant women in the country. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali said the consideration will be made in order to expedite the vaccination process among the group, which is also at high risk of getting infected with COVID-19. Explaining further, Dr. Nur Azmi said, so far there is no official announcement which allows pregnant women to walk in for their vaccine. However, he said some mother and child clinics have already taken the proactive measures to give early shots ahead of their appointment dates on My Sejahtera application based on the guidelines set by the obstetricians and gynecologists.
Dia biasa mengandung, dia kena lapor pada KKIK. Bila dia lapor dah tahu dah. Sebab tu kita nak kira dia punya LMP dia. Kan, berapa minggu dia dah mengandung. Dia sentikan boleh beri 14 minggu.
Garis panduan dah ada dah untuk kami.
Ada kan? Ada
dah.
Garis panduan ada.
Dikeluarkan oleh pakar
PNG lah. Seingat saya dia belum diumumkan seluruh Malaysia. Belum
diumum, tapi dah going on.
Bila ada kejadian macam ni yang kita tak ingini, yang kita amat sedih, satu cadangan yang baiklah untuk proaktif.
He added that the current walk-in vaccinations are focusing on the elderly aged 60 and above, apart from those with comorbidities. Members of the public are reminded not to misuse the approval for fully vaccinated individuals to conduct economic and social activities in states under phase of the National Recovery Plan (PPN). This includes any attempt to falsify the digital COVID-19 vaccination certificate for personal use. Senior Foreign Minister Security Cluster Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein stressed that stern action will be taken against those caught committing the offence.
Tindakan-tindakan yang tidak bertanggungjawab ini perlu kita bawa kepada muka keadilan secepat mungkin sebagai contoh kepada orang ramai. Pertama, saya harap kerjasama daripada orang ramai untuk membawa dan maklumkan kepada kita kalau sekiranya wujud kes-kes sebegini rupa.
Speaking during a virtual media briefing, the senior minister also revealed that the government is mulling to allow more leniency to conduct economic and social activities, even for residents of states currently under phase 1 of the PPN. He explained that all decisions made were based on experts' opinions and not just on the vaccination rate. This is especially in regards to the capability of health facilities to service categories 3, 4 and 5 patients. More than 100,000 fishermen registered under the Fisheries Development Authority of Malaysia (LKIM) will receive their COVID-19 vaccine through the Agro-Food Industry Vaccination Program (IVAC). LKIM Chairman Datuk Syed Abu Hussein Al-Hafiz Syed Abdul Fasal said they are expected to be vaccinated by November under the initiative by the Agriculture and Food Industry Ministry. On the total number of fishermen that have received their vaccine doses, he said it was difficult to provide an accurate figure as some of them have received the shots after getting appointment dates through My Sejahtera application.
Tak dapat angka tu sebab kita tak buat secara kelompok lagi. Yang ni dia pergi walk in di mana-mana tempat yang ada. Jadi kalau kita programkan di bawah agensi sama ada perikanan ataupun LKM, maka kita akan dapat nombor yang lebih tepat. Nelayan-nelayan semua insya-Allah akan mendapat vaksin by November. Kalau dapat cepat lagi baik sebab kita ada stok vaksin yang cukup untuk kita beri kepada rakyat kita.
He said this after giving 300 food baskets to the residents in Kampung Menteri Kuala Sepetang in Perak, which has been placed under enhanced movement control order since 6 August. More than 70% of those residents are fishermen which were affected by the pandemic. New COVID-19 cases in Malaysia have dropped further to 17,236 today from 18,688 yesterday. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement said this brings the cumulative figure for positive cases to 1,279,776. Selangor remained the state with the most daily infections at 5,740, followed by 1,567 in Kuala Lumpur and 1,328 in Kedah. Of that, only 4,456 or 26.4% of cases reported today have history of receiving vaccination, and majority of them are listed in categories 1 and 2. Meanwhile, 15,187 recoveries were reported today, leaving 227,230 active cases in the country. Of that, 1,095 patients currently receiving treatment in the ICU, with 579 of them requiring ventilator support. Death toll rose to 10,961 after another 212 fatalities reported today, with 36 new clusters detected nationwide. Next, tourism green light a boost for industry. the green light for tourism activities within each state involving homestays and hotels for individuals who have been fully vaccinated under Phase 2 and the subsequent phases of the National Recovery Plan (PPN) can benefit the tourism industry. However, Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said hotel and homestay operators must ensure those entering their premises must show their COVID-19 vaccination digital certificate stating that they had been fully vaccinated. In a released statement, she said the ministry saw the announcement on the relaxation by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin yesterday as an early measure which could give relief to the industry players affected following the closure of the sector prior to this. She explained that the opening of the domestic tourism sector, which is being implemented in stages depending on the phases, is a boom to the tourism operators in line with the tourism recovery plan outlined by the ministry. At the same time, she said the relaxation would be a boost to all quarters involved to reinvigorate the tourism, arts and culture sectors in the country. According to the minister, the relaxation could also indirectly enhance the confidence of members of the public who had received full vaccination to support domestic tourism, as she called for everyone to continue observing the SOP and carry out tourism activities safely. The Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives Ministry is hoping that the easing of certain restrictions for fully vaccinated people can help to revitalize the business sector during these challenging times. Its Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the announcement by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on the relaxation was most appropriate as it could restore the shine for entrepreneurs, especially those in the food and tourism sectors. In a released statement, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi said micro, small and medium enterprises are very dependent on the support of the people or customers to ensure business continuity. The industries contribute significantly to the country's socio-economic development, with more than 1.15 million ringgit of them last year providing employment for 7.3 million people, or almost half of the country's workforce. Yesterday, the Prime Minister announced relaxation of restrictions including tourism activities within the same state and the permission to dine in at restaurants for fully vaccinated people in areas placed under Phase 2 of the National Recovery Plan. The Human Resources Ministry, through the Social Security Organisation SOCSO, is expected to implement the Housewife Social Security Scheme SKSSR next year. Minister Datuk Seri M. Saravanan said this is following the Cabinet meeting held on 14th July, which had agreed for housewives to be given social security protection. Datuk Seri Saravanan in a statement explained that the scheme will benefit 2.99 million housewives as it will provide protection against domestic disasters including accidents, illness or death. The minister believed social security protection is necessary to safeguard welfare and the well-being of housewives, given that their functions and duties are important in family institutions and national development. He said about 150,000 housewives from poor households and below the poverty line income will be covered by the government, while for other housewives, participation is on a voluntary basis. Currently, the draft of Housewives' Social Security Bill is being refined jointly by the Ministry and the Attorney General's chambers before obtaining Cabinet approval for tabling in Parliament in the near future. The Department of Statistics Malaysia (DOSM) today reported that the unemployment rate in Malaysia has climbed to 4.8% in June 2021, involving 768,700 persons. Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the unemployment rate for May 2021 was at 4.5% with 728,100 unemployed persons. He said as the country continued to endeavour in flattening the surge of COVID-19 cases, the labour force was faced with a challenging situation in June following the implementation of the full movement control order, whereby only essential economic and services sectors were permitted to operate. Hence, the number of employed persons in June 2021 declined by 0.5% to record 15.3 million persons compared to 15.37 million in May 2021, with employment to population ratio fell by 0.4 percentage points to 65%. In addition, he said, some of the labour force had moved into inactivity, which led to a decline to 16.07 million persons compared to 16.1 million persons in the previous month, and it was the first decrease recorded since April 2020 when the pandemic hit the country. An assistant engineer at the Kuala Selangor Municipal Council MPKS pleaded not guilty in the Shah Alam Sessions Court today to a bribery charge in connection with a local authority PBT project last year. Nurul Azmunir Ahmad 40 entered the plea before Judge Muhammad Anas Matsir. According to the charge sheet, Nurul Azmunir attached to the Kuala Selangor District Council MDKS as an assistant engineer was alleged to have received 5,000 ringgit in cash from a 46-year-old man in connection with his official duties at the MDKS Engineering Department by providing the department's estimated quotation rate for small projects under the Kampung Baru Bagan Tersusun program. The accused was alleged to have committed the offence at Taman Kuala Selangor Utama, Kuala Selangor between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. on 15th January last year, and he was charged under Section 165 of the Penal Code, which carries a jail term of up to 2 years or a fine or both if convicted. The court allowed the accused, represented by lawyer Hamdan Hamzah, bail of 6,000 ringgit in one surety and ordered the accused to surrender his passport to the court. The court also set 13 September for mention. The Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA has foiled an attempt to smuggle 2 tons of ketum leaves in Kuala Sanglang waters near Jerlun, Kedah last Friday. Kedah Police MMEA Director Maritime First Admiral Muhammad Zawawi Abdullah said the seizure was made at 0.2 nautical miles of Kuala Sanglang estuary following intelligence gathered at the location.
Untuk rekod, pada tahun ini saja Zon Maritim Kuala Kedah telah merampas sejumlah 5,970 kilogram daun ketum untuk Zon Maritim Kuala Kedah, yang mana nilai rampasan termasuk daun ketum dan juga bot tersebut adalah sekitar ringgit Malaysia 1.3 juta. Itu merupakan satu kejayaan kepada Zon Maritim Kuala Kedah amnya dan juga untuk agensi penguasaan maritim Malaysia dalam usaha untuk mengekang penyelundupan keluar daun ketum ke negara jiran kita.
Speaking during a media briefing in Kuala Kedah, Admiral Muhammad Zawawi said all goods seized, including boat and engine estimated worth about 390,000 ringgit, were brought to Kuala Kedah Maritime Zone Jetty for further action. The case is investigated under Section 30, Subsection 3 of the Poisons Act 1952. 7 people, including a restaurant owner suspected of being a drug trafficker, were detained in a series of raids carried out between 4 to 6 August in Padang Besar and Kanga Perlis. State Police Chief Datuk Surina Saad said in the raids, police also seized 161.7 kilograms of marijuana and 800 grams of shabu, valued at 603,920 ringgit.
Ketujuh-tujuh suspek diriman mulai 4 hingga ke 13 Ogos 2021. Hasil semakan lampau mendapati kesemua suspek mempunyai rekod bersabit kes dadah dan jenayah.
Datuk Surina also said all the drugs were believed to have been brought in from a neighbouring country and Perlis was being used as a transit point before the drugs are distributed elsewhere. She said the syndicate is believed to have been active since July and were distributing the drugs using land transportation, including their own vehicles to avoid detection by the police, and they rented houses to store the drugs. A total of 10 motorcycles and 3 cars valued at 389,000 ringgit were also confiscated. The case is investigated under Section 39B and Section 15, Subsection 1 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Coming up in sports, Olympians return from Tokyo vow to come back stronger. Stay with us. Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games silver medalist Datuk Muhammad Azizul Awang arrived safely in Malaysia along with the last batch of the country's contingent this afternoon at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, receiving a modest but warm welcome in compliance with physical distancing guidelines. Arriving at 5:20 p.m, they were greeted by Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Wan Ahmad Faizal Wan Ahmad Kamal, Youth and Sports Ministry Secretary General Dato' M. Nur Azman Taib and National Sports Institute Chief Executive Officer Ahmad Faizal Mat Ramli. Datuk Muhammad Azizul, dubbed the Pocket Rocket Man due to his small stature and speed on the track, put on a good performance to win the silver in the men's Kirin event at Izu Velodrome yesterday, falling short of the elusive gold medal, which was won by defending champion Jason Kenny of Great Britain.
Saya still strong dan saya pun tak ada any issue with the physical apa semua. My mental pun semua okey. But macam saya beritahu tadi, kita akan sit down together, kita akan buat restructure planning balik semula.
Okay. All 28 individuals who returned today will undergo the 14-day mandatory quarantine at the hotel. A total of 30 athletes represented Malaysia at the Tokyo Olympics, which took place from 23rd July to 8th August in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. The national contingent may have received an F for failing to achieve the 3-medal target at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, but the 30 athletes who led the country's challenge certainly deserve an A for effort. It's no small feat for the men and women to go up against the world's best at the world's biggest multi-sports games, which ended Sunday and helped Malaysia to the 74th spot in the final overall medal standings out of 206 nations.
Kita nak lihat bahawa investment yang dilakukan adalah investment yang berbaloi. Kita nak lihat dari segi soal innovation macam mana dilakukan oleh Azizul Hasni Awang. Tumpuan dan juga pelaburan yang dilakukan, alhamdulillah mendatangkan hasil, dan kita tahu bahawa setiap kali kita nak dapatkan kejayaan dan kita perlukan pelaburan.
He added cyclist Azizul Hasni and Muhammad Shah Firdaus Shahrom were the best performers at the Tokyo Olympics, while the divers did not meet the target set for them. Through more comprehensive and effective planning, it is hoped that the dream of bagging Malaysia's first ever Olympic gold medal will come true in Paris in 2024. Johor Darul Takzim JDT are inching closer to the Super League Championship after clinching a 2-0 victory over Sabah FC in a match played at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Putri last night. A brace by Berkson da Silva was enough for JDT to consolidate its position at the top of the table with 45 points, 8 points ahead of second-placed Terengganu FC. JDT almost broke through the opponent's net on the 9th minute. However, the free kick by Leandro Velasquez missed the bar. Benjamin Moro's squad then earned their reward after Muhammad Safawi Rasid pass was nicely finished by Da Silva in the 18th minute. Sabah were not even given enough time to strike back, as 2 minutes later, Berkson scored his second off Leandro Velasquez long ball, making the import player the highest scorer in the league with 19 goals so far this season. Entering the second half, there were little attempts by both teams until the final whistle blow. Mora meanwhile said he was satisfied with the win, as JDT is now 2 wins away from clinching the title.
we controlled from the beginning. We had a good pace, a good intensity. We were pressing almost all the game. We were able to attack in different ways. So we shift the formation, we shift the intention, and it gives us a lot of good game performance.
All right, that's it from us this evening. In our top story, MOH malls allowing walk-in vaccinations for pregnant women. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. I'm Shohaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.